What's up, everybody? Welcome to the pod. I am your host, Diehard. I'm happy to have you all here for episode 12 of Supforce Live. Happy to have you here to talk to our guest today. We will get to him in a moment, but just wanted to take time out to say thank you very much, everybody, for coming out and supporting the pod. This is the reason why we do it all, is for you guys out there. We are so happy and so excited to be able to bring this to you every week. And, you know, we just hope that you guys enjoy it, enjoy the content, enjoy all the information that we bring. And, you know, love to get to know some of our featured creators, members of the group, and our admin team, which is what we're going to talk to today, is one of our admin members. I do want to let you guys know, if you're out there and you're not a member of Supforce, please click the link. It'll be popping up here shortly, I'm sure, from somebody, and go to supportforce.co, supportforce.ca, supportforce.info. There's a lot of good information about us out there. You can read up, find out about our tournaments we have coming up, and get to know the admin team and people that we have there. And then there's a link to join our Discord there. So make sure you check it out, click it, join the link, and you won't be sorry that you did it. We do support you no matter what platform you do your content creation on, whether it is DLive, Twitch, Mixer, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have a powder room for makeup artists that we have, where they talk and collab and share their ideas, and it's amazing to see the work that they do. I really love all the collaborations that we have over multiple platforms, and you know, we'll have crew streaming, one on Twitch, one on Mixer, one on DLive, all together at the same time. It is amazing to see what everybody comes up with. It is truly remarkable to see all the collaboration and all the teamwork, and it is like a family. So again, since we put it out there, I'll put it. Supportforce.co. And then we got supportforce.ca and supportforce.info. Make sure that you smash those links. Go to there and, like I said, read up about us, join our Discord, and you will not be disappointed. Trust me on that. Now, to the matter at hand, we have none other than one of our good buddies. Hold on 1 second here and get rid of that blue box there. He is our YouTube manager. He is a DLive streamer, a member of our admin team. I love this guy to death. I brought him in from streaming on DLive and saw that he was an awesome content creator, and the games he plays and the interactions he has with his chat and with his community are amazing. I'm happy that he joined us and has become such a huge part of this community. He is amazing, amazing, amazing guy. Please, everybody, give it up and welcome my good buddy, Krown. Other way. Sorry, everybody. We're using a different program for the pod this time. So I'm used to being on the other side of the screen. So when I go like this way, that's the right way. I'm used to going this way, the opposite way. So we had some technical difficulties, why we ran a few minutes late coming on, because the program we were using Whereby was kicking him, and we weren't getting, stuff wasn't just being stable. Can't hear him. Surprise, motherfucker. Go ahead and talk. Oh wow, it's not picking up. Why is it not picking up? This is not good. Let's see. Try it now.
How about now?
There we go. Now we got him.
Technical difficulties never end in the world.
No, they do not. They do not. Maybe one day when we hit it really big, I'll get a PC for just streaming the pod, and everything will be there and not be touched.
And you'll have a mod sitting right next to you with the buttons pushing everything for you.
Yeah, exactly. that I can just be the talent.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we all need.
Oh, what's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I've been sick for the last few days, but I'm feeling lots better. I woke up this morning with some energy, so that was great. I should have planned energy though. I've slept for the last like 3 days.
Yeah, I know we weren't knowing how this is gonna pan out. We were gonna do it yesterday, but he was still not feeling good, so he got the rest that he needed. How many monsters have you drank today?
None. I haven't.
None.
I
Wow.
water and sleep is all I do when I get sick, man.
Nice, nice, nice.
Baby, leave me alone. I crawl up in my bed and bottle of water. That's my nibble on it. I'm good to go.
That's awesome. But we're glad you're better. We're glad that you're able to come on with us and have these people get to know you better. We really appreciate that. So Crown, why don't you go ahead and just tell the people a little bit about yourself and just talk about yourself.
All right. Well, that's always hard to do because everyone's like, oh, where do you start? But I grew up in Michigan. I live up in the UP. I love to spend my time fishing and hunting. A lot of the summertime, I'll spend every morning with my dad. We go out fishing. He's an early person. He's in the 70s. He's one of those people that wakes up at 4:30 in the morning, the crack of dawn. The light hits him, he's up. So he's usually knocking on my door around 6 o'clock saying, hey, let's go get the rods, go fishing for a little bit. So I spent a lot of time in the woods. That's one of my passions. I was born in Colorado and then we moved here. And my dad's from here. He's Austrian. My mom, she's from Colorado. She's Hispanic. So that's where I fit in between those two guys. But so I lived a lot of city life. I'd go back to Colorado quite often and visit a lot of family. I spent a lot of time in Denver.
Right.
And then I spent most of my time in UP. And then I went to school in Grand Valley, so down in Grand Rapids. So I was a little bit closer to you at one point in time. But I lived there for 7 years. Yeah, I lived there for 7 years.
Okay.
And I had my car get jacked into 3 times. And on the 3rd time, I was like, I'm done with this shit. I don't like people anymore. I don't trust people around here. City people, you guys are all shady. No. But it wasn't that too. I was in college. I was in school. My living situation wasn't the best. I lived where I could afford. Right. It wasn't always the best neighborhood. So it was at one point in time, and I was done with school, and I decided I wanted to go back to where I liked being and where I could walk out my back door and go pee.
Right.
I don't have to worry about anyone seeing me because I have no one around me. I have my neighbors. My closest neighbor is probably 200 yards away.
Okay.
And that's in left and right. And then from behind me, nobody.
Right.
Probably 640s. So, which if you guys don't know what 640s means, it's acres. When you plot out things, you go by 40 acres as a plot. So when someone says 640s, it means
6 acres.
240 acres.
Oh, 240 acres. Damn.
Yeah, each plot is 40 acres.
That's a lot. That's a lot of room.
Oh yeah, I got farms that surround me. I've got CFR land, which is country farmland, which is owned by state, and nobody lives there. So it's like big open, nothing but hunting grounds.
Right.
The world, when you want to escape, that's where you want to be.
Well, and with it being state land like that too, nobody's going to build back there. No one's going to touch it for a very long time, if ever.
Nope, exactly. That's one of the things I love about it. I love being. I love you guys, and that's why I have you guys, and that's why I love the community and streaming, because it was able to give me a connection with people that obviously don't get out here because there's nobody. My animals are my connection. So that's what I loved about this community, the Supforce, about streaming and just getting into it. And it's kind of funny that I'm getting into it now. I'm 32 years old, and when this was becoming a thing, when YouTube was coming a thing, I was like 16. So it's like 16 years later, I'm coming back around to it and being a part of it rather than seeing it. So it's weird the way things move through time.
Well, I'm quite a bit older than you. Well, not quite a bit, but even further for me, I was already in my 20s when this really started becoming a thing. And, I couldn't imagine what it would be like if it started when I was there. You know, obviously computers really weren't that great back then to handle stuff like this.
Right.
But I mean, I can only imagine where I would be right now if it started way back then, you know.
And one of the big things too is time's different when it comes to this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Back then, around that time, if I would have been like, "Oh, I'm gonna stream, play games," my parents would have been like, "Get the hell out of my house!"
Right.
Thinking, you need to get your ass to school, get
Yeah.
a job, do all this other stuff. There was no option like that. But now there's lots of money being made in. You're seeing kids 14, 15, 16 years old making millions of dollars playing Fortnite.
Yep.
Or playing in a tournament of CSGO or whatever the case may be. And now it's more of a thing. Like if obviously if we could all see in the future, I would have started streaming, or I would have not listened to anybody else and been like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I'm a gamer. I want to do that, and I would have stayed doing it because I loved games when I was in high school. You know, I grew up on it. My very first system was an Atari when I was 6 years old.
Nice.
And I was at where was I? I was at a pawn shop with my dad, and I had the joystick, the little joystick and the button, and I was just playing with it. And he's like, "Do you know what that's? You know what that is?" And I was like, I was just like, I don't know, like an arcade thing. And so it was only like, I think $12 at the time.
Right.
Picked it up for me, brought it home, and I sat there and played that thing for hours, dude. Hours and hours. Like they took it away from me because they're like, "No, all right, this is nope."
Right.
So,
go outside and play.
Yep. And I loved outdoors. Like, I still got plenty of playtime, but man, it was like a new thing to me for real. And the thing is, my brother had a Sega and stuff like that, but I never was allowed in his room or anything like that because my brothers are quite a bit older than me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the baby in the family, but all my brothers our youngest brother to me is 10 years apart. The rest of them, and then it gets out from there. My oldest brother is 54.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you the range of where everything is at. So they had their things. They had like the Sega, the Nintendo, and stuff like that. But I had my Atari. I was happy as shit with it.
Right. No, that's awesome. I can remember, growing up and riding my bike up to the 7-Eleven because they used to have a couple of arcade games there, and that's what I would go and play. I'd play freaking Karate Champ, and like an old 8-bit arcade game, and just play that all the time, and just would go up there, and I'd go with my parents on Sundays to bowling and go to the arcade there and game all the time in the arcades.
You're Bare Knuckles Fighter?
Yes,
that was one of my favorite ones. Bare Knuckles Fighter. I used to play at the arcade all the time. I love that one.
My favorite game to play was the original Punch Out. It wasn't Mike Tyson's Punch Out. It was the original Punch Out, where when you wanted to knock somebody out, there was a big plunger button that you just slammed your fist on to throw the uppercut on, and then also playing the original Street Fighter. And I don't know if you ever seen this one, where it was with the big, huge buttons that you basically had to hammer punch in order to like punch and kick and that.
There was a place in Colorado that we would go camping every couple of years with all of us when we all came back together, and it was at this one campground, and they had an arcade which was 5 machines in there, and they had the 2 best games ever, and it was Street Fighter, and that's the one it was. It was the fucking big ass buttons, and then they had World League Baseball Champion, which was like it was arcade style baseball. You were this just beefy big old cartoon character drawn guys. You could power up with these big giant bats and just like crank away and have home runs like that. It was games were all time my childhood right there.
Nice. That's awesome.
I only played those when we went to this campground, and it was only every couple of years like in between. So I probably played those games maybe. Oh man, I don't remember what things would cost back then, but quite a lot of money in that short amount of time, and I only played those games maybe 3 times in my entire life.
Right.
So
save up all your quarters and stuff for that time that you're going to be up there too.
Yep.
Like, all right, I got 2 weeks ago. I got about like $10 worth of quarters. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. You said you're you like the outdoors and that. Are you a big time hunter and fisher, or do you like more so than when you were younger than now?
I go through spurts. This year, with getting into streaming and learning all this, I kind of put the time I would have had into hunting, into streaming, and with the community. That was a new thing too. Supforce, and then taking on responsibility as as a admin with them, you know, that stuff starts to eat up time real quick, all of it. And trying to keep my stream going at the same time. So I was trying to really balance. So I had to kind of cut back on a lot of stuff I would have done, because between September and November, I wouldn't have been in here. Like, I would have never been on the internet. I would have got done with work. I would have went out to my blind. I would have been out walking trails, learning what scrapes and what lines are fresh. I would have been bird hunting with my dogs.
Right.
But really, I only went bird hunting with my dogs twice this year, which Summer, she hates me right now because that's her thing, man. It's like what she dies for. Like, she just obsessed. Right. But she didn't get to go out much this year. So, yeah, I kind of got a lot of my time tied up to this at the moment. And with the YouTube stuff, I wanted to make sure that I was able to learn and give you guys quality stuff, not just be like, oh yeah, I'm learning and splice a couple things here, there, and call it a video. Like, I wanted it to be a video, and I spent a lot of my time afterwards just watching other stuff, being like, all right, I can do that, and then taking an hour and just making that part of that video, and then, you know, expanding from there. So now I got things done a little bit faster. Things are a little bit smoother. I might have time to go back and do a little more hunting next year. But fishing, I love my fishing, and that's my time with my dad. So that's like really important to me. My dad's getting older, and it scares me because he is a smoker, and I can't get, you know, that's one of the things he just isn't going to give up. He's 73 years old. He doesn't care. He's set in his ways. So I think that stuff kind of scares me. So I don't skip out on the fishing. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Fishing.
No, I completely get that. Band is asking a question about your property. It says, do you homestead on that big property?
I do not. I have. So right now, I don't live on the property that I own. The property that I own is like actually about 6 miles down the road. I actually live over at a buddy's house because where I did live, they didn't offer internet. The internet literally ends 5 miles from my house. So all they have is like satellite internet, which that shit sucks. You got to pay out the ass for that, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Oh yeah. And so my buddy was like, well, I just bought a place and it needs work, but I'm not going to work on it all the time. And I'm like, and he was right, because he buys shit and never works on it. It's funny, but I was like, yeah, dude, I'll work on it if you want to. Like, I don't want to pay you for rent or anything like that, because whatever, but I'll pay for the resources. I'll put in the house. I'll build it up for everything, whatever for you.
Right.
And so that's basically what I got going on right now. I live in here. I work on this house throughout the summer. This place was falling apart. Like, I got quite a bit of work into it. And I plan on moving back to where my land is and building a house there eventually. But there's a lot of things that me and my girlfriend are trying to get situated first before we do all that and spend a big investment of our money into a home, because we want to build our own. We want to have our own buildings and all that stuff. So maybe down the road we'll homestead on it, but because she's a horse girl. She loves her horses. She grew up on horses. She's been biting at my ear for a minute now, saying, I want to get horses one of these days. And I'm just like, shit, I don't want horses.
You got to talk to Spectre.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I do talk to him, and I know how much they cost, and I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with it.
Wolf asks, why not set up a line of sight from where you live now? For internet. Now, have they said that there's plans to get the internet to go down there, or no?
No, there's not enough people. That's the problem. Like, so where I live right now is like a township that's next to the lakes, and that's kind of like everybody kind of like congregated. And then I live on the outside of that town.
Right.
They don't want to spread it out. And I did at one point in time, I got chartered internet, and I did ask them if they would move it out there, and if what would it cost to have them do it. And they said it would cost $10,000 for them to run a line for out to my area. And basically I had to pay for that and then the installation. So, and even at that, and what I didn't like about that, I was like, all right, well, if I was a petition and get people together to pay for this, would that work or anything? They're like, no, it won't happen that way. Like, if you pay for it, and then we can tap into it and give them internet, but it's not going to be a shared thing. I was just like, That's some horse shit. What do you mean?
Right.
I gotta pay for everyone else to get internet, but I can't like have them pay into it too. It's like that's fucked up.
Oh, well, when you get that ninja money and that shroud money, then you can afford to do it.
All right. Hey, smash that follow over on the YouTube.
Exactly.
Get our YouTube going and we can start doing something.
Well, speaking of the YouTube, man, you picked that up really quick and, you know, did the editing and that. And it was just really impressive how quickly you picked it up and you ran with it. And it's so good, the videos that you did. Like I honestly was amazed at I mean, I know you did some slick stuff with the Call of Duty ones and that, but the way you did the golf one with us, where you spliced in the Happy Gilmore clips and stuff like that, I was dying. And it was just like, you did everything to a T perfect on all those and all the videos that you do. And, you know, especially the latest one, which, you know, if somebody wants to in chat, make sure you put the link for the YouTube channel and our YouTube channel out there. The makeup artist one was amazing too, as well.
I had fun with that one because, you know, like I said, I'm trying to incorporate different little things. I don't want to get too stale and just be like, all right, this is it. But
right.
I had fun with that because the song was perfect for it, and then the beat drops were like really on point with it. So I had fun with that one, and it's a short clip too. I wish I could have done more because I actually had more clips that would have been fun to install if there would have been more of the Moon Girl, the Sailor Girls that were involved. But future, you know, hopefully they see that and they're like, oh, that's cool. So they want to be more involved in the collab, and that way they can be more videos.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, shit happens and time runs out for people to get collab stuff in there. There we go. There's Rebel's got the YouTube channel there. Thank you very much, Rebs.
Life catches up, things get busy. But you know, it just hopefully it causes a little bit of a hype and a little bit of a fire in them, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's amazing. So when it was put out there about how we needed to find a YouTube manager, and at that time you were a mod for us and that. So when the opportunity came around, what actually made you want to go that route and become a YouTube manager for Supforce?
So I think my first thing overall, like I said earlier, when I was young, it was YouTube, and that's what it was. It wasn't really streaming. There was people making videos, and that's something I always wanted to do. I always thought it was really cool to take your gameplay, because I remember, you know, we've all been there as gamers. We've had these epic battle moments where it's played out, where you are fighting this guy and he's way above your level, and you just get the winning final slash on him, and the feeling, it feels good. And I've always thought it'd be sweet to be able to clip in really dope music drops at that moment, or have a clip from something like that's an animation from a movie that you could use, and then YouTube allows that to happen. I've always wanted to do that kind of thing, but I've never had the ability to or knew how to get into it until I actually started streaming and I started meeting people that were involved with it.
Right.
And I started being able to kind of learn little bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
And also the big part is programming. It's been a huge, and I want to really thank Panic and QP, because they gave me programs to use, to, you know, that I didn't have to go pay for because I couldn't afford to. You know what I mean? If it would have been for them, I still probably wouldn't have been able to have done it, because I wouldn't have had the programs.
Right.
So with them, it was a huge help to them. It's very important. They know that they're a big part of the reason that I was able to do this for them and for you guys and get involved with it. But I just love the concept of the videos, man. I love the music. I love watching. I watch a ton of YouTube a day. I probably watch 8 to 10 videos a day when I'm sitting there. If I'm bored, I always pull up YouTube. It's like the first thing I go to. It's a bad habit nowadays. I pick up my phone.
YouTube. 8 to 10. That's it.
No, I mean, like, I sitting, bro. Like, I'll sit there and watch like 8, 10 videos in a sitting. I was like, oh shit.
So let me ask you this: what did you feel was the hardest thing to figure out and learn? Was it the actual program and how to do the edits, or was it the actual rules with YouTube and copyrights and stuff like that?
What YouTube copyright stuff isn't so bad. You know, basically, the best rule of thumb: use your own shit. Don't try to use anybody else's stuff. If you made it on your computer, it's yours, and that's creative concept. That's that falls on fair use because of a lot of the that's their main TOS thing. So as long as you're following those and aren't using music, that's their biggest thing they don't want is the royalty music that is claimed by somebody else.
Right.
If you have more than 10 seconds of a sound bit of a song, your shit's claimed and you can't make any money on it or anything. Now the copyright strike stuff is a lot different. That stuff's all about taking someone else's content and not doing anything different to it. Just putting it on there and saying, here, I made this, even though it was this person over here's stuff. So so that was pretty easy. For me, learning the program wasn't bad. It was just really time consuming because obviously there's all these buttons.
Right. You
click on one, if you see what it does, you hit redo or undo, and then you click on another button, you hit undo. So that took a lot of time. But the hardest part is timing of everything. Going through and cutting out the spots to splice in other spots and making it seamless. That to me is the hardest part because I not now, but when I first started, it probably took me 30 minutes just to do 10 seconds because my splicing just wasn't, my splicing was just so bad. It was like I'd splice something and then it looked like it was all jerky through it.
Yeah.
But now I can splice things out at their transition points to where you don't tell, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And Rabble saying no swearing in the first 5 minutes I heard is the new one. Well, I heard was the loophole.
Yeah, but that's kid stuff. That's stuff. It's like if you're getting demonetized and whatnot. But that's they have two categories now where you have to select it if you're making this content for the kids or not kids. If you select not for kids, a lot of that stuff doesn't count anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. It's two different sections of the 5IE, 5IEE type stuff. It's so, to be honest, that's a gray area, to tell you the truth, because I looked at a lot of stuff where they were talking about, being vulgar and this and that. They're basically saying if you're saying word after word, the F word, F this, F that, F, you guys are all effing dumb, F that, blah, blah, blah. That's what they don't want. It's like there's a category of F, bitch, ass, all that stuff is in a certain category. And as long as you're not using the vulgar ones and 20 of them in 5 seconds, that's not considered the banting language that they're looking at.
As long as you're not going and reciting Scarface, you're going to be all right.
Or Limp Bizkit, Hot Dog Flavored Water. I don't know if you ever heard listened to that album, but that was
yeah.
That one of their songs is I got 45. What is it? They say F word every other word, dude. It's like the whole song is nothing but F this. It's funny. I love that song. That was one of the ones.
Well, one of the things I was surprised at was when you did the golf clip video and you put the Happy Gilmore clips in there. I was like, oh wow, he can use that, because if you're somebody that doesn't know it and everything, you're like, oh, I thought that was copyright. You can't use that because that's part of a movie. And is that kind of pirating or is it not?
So as long as you give credit to where you're getting it, like citation, you'll see the watermark on there. It says movie clips.
Right.
It has a little mark that says clips.
Yeah.
That where it came from. So I'm using it as a reference. I'm not using it as I'm not taking claim as I created it. You don't see my logo plastered over it. So that's the big thing. I'm not claiming it as mine. Now that video did get copyright claim because of the Bully Bully song in it. I tried to make it just short enough so it didn't, but it was just like it was like a couple points, some seconds over, and they claimed it.
Gotcha.
But it's not a big deal because they have a program on YouTube that allows you to go in and snip out sound clips.
Okay.
So, it'll separate the sound from it.
Yeah.
So if I had to, I could pull out the music if we ever got to the point where we're getting advertised moderation, which is the only time that a copyright actually matters.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't matter. The strikes are what matter because that means people are saying you're plagiarizing.
Gotcha.
So videos are allowed to be used. Clips and videos and stuff like that, you're allowed to use. That's a creative. It's all underneath. It's a fair use for creative content.
So now, can you? I mean, I know you said the watermark. So is it as long as you put something in like your description saying clips courtesy of movieclips.com, then you're okay, or does it have to be on the actual video?
Either way, from my understanding, and I could be wrong on that. It's something I should probably actually look a little bit more into. But for my thing was, as long as you were giving credit to, it said giving credit in video or in description. So I'm assuming it doesn't matter either one.
Right.
But I do see people doing it where they do both. They'll have it in the description down the bottom, and then they'll have it in the top as well.
Right.
But it doesn't say that. It never says both. It says or.
So it's probably people are doing it to CYOA, cover your own ass,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, that's cool.
And like I said, the copyright stuff doesn't matter. If they have a problem with it, they tell you, you fix it, you give them whatever for it. That's end of story. Otherwise, the copyright comes in if you're literally just plastering it on there, be like, yep, that's mine. Put my logo on it, claim it.
Right. Absolutely. I'm better to be safe than sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been doing this now for, God, what has it been now? 2 months? It's about 2 months?
Yeah, I want to say that's pretty close.
Maybe a little bit more, maybe just a smidge less, but I think it's probably a little bit more. So you've settled into a groove. You have your schedules and stuff that you're getting out there. Was that really hard to figure out how you were going to do the schedule and how you were going to release stuff, or did it come pretty quickly for you on what you wanted to do?
It's actually, it's still a work in progress and getting it really dialed in. Because
somebody doesn't get you the pod on time.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but yeah.
I'm trying to be better. All right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's sometimes if people run out of time, you get caught up at work, something happens, you know, life takes over, and I don't get it in time. Then it pushes my schedule back, and sometimes things suffer because of it, and sometimes I have to kind of not do something because of it. But it hasn't been bad. It's been pretty good. I get a lot of clips through people, they're clips in media, people talking in the community, say some funny stuff happen. The biggest thing is that when I know you guys are going to be doing collabs, you're going to be doing stuff like that, I try to make sure I'm watching all of you guys, so that way either you guys are getting clips from me or I can pull clips.
Right.
And then it gives me ideas for doing for next week. Now everyone's starting to do this Halo Saturdays. That's becoming a really big thing. Brose had one hell of a rage out the other day. So, but it gives me ideas now that I could do a rage compilation of collab Saturdays. Collab Saturday rage compilations or something like that. You know what I mean? There's different things now I can come up and do differently that I wasn't before. I would never have done that before. But now that it's kind of a thing, I'll start making. I'll put out there a message to everyone to make sure, get your raging. Let me hear it. Get me those clips. Throw some salt.
And I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't. We gotta play it. We got to play it. So hold on, I'm finding it right now in the Clips and Media channel. I believe it's right here. Okay, that one wasn't great because you can't really hear Bro. I mean, even though Brose is like yelling.
Yeah.
I want to find the one from Lantern. Lantern is the one that. Oh, maybe it's this one. Yep, this is it.
Rabble says no audio.
There you go. Everybody can listen to it on your own. It's probably one of the best rages that I've seen, and it was pretty damn funny. I don't know why it wasn't coming through, but I put the link out there, so make sure that everybody clicks on it and watches it, and you will not be sorry on the laughter that will ensue from it. I mean, it's pretty awesome from Brose. It's so funny too because I watch him and I he's just so I hear him spout off every once in a while, but then when he just went off on that, I was just dying.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, and that's I don't as long as I don't mind people yelling as long as you're not breaking your shit. That's when you gotta like dial it back. But it doesn't matter who you are. If you play competitive, you play PvP, any of that stuff, you're gonna rage out.
Oh yeah,
we have nature in all of us. That's why you gotta love it. Like so, for me, I was huge into sports. In high school, I played all the sports: basketball, baseball, football, track, and wrestling. That was my life didn't end from year round. My parents hated it.
Yeah,
because dinner wasn't until 8 o'clock every night, and they were constantly driving my ass back and forth. And town was 11 miles away, so it was not short. I wasn't running, walking, nothing. They were getting me back and forth. But I've always been super competitive, and I didn't have online gaming or anything like that. So I was really story driven. I played a lot of like Witcher games and Fallout and all that. Those were my games back then because I had internet. And now, I mean, not now, but when I went to college, I had internet. And then I got really heavy into PvP because that was my new competitive thing. Like I got heavy into it. I didn't have sports anymore.
Right.
I got now it's called esports, but not at the time that I was playing.
Yeah.
And I got super competitive in COD. Like I was ranked at a few times in COD. I was really heavy into Gears of War. I did lots of Gears of War PvP, and it's actually part of a clan that we were rated pretty high for a while.
Right.
And Madden was my other passion. I played Madden I played too much Madden, and I raged hard at Madden because when a guy misses block because he ran the wrong direction when he should be running this way, I'd lose my shit. I would lose.
When your wide receiver's wide open and it hits him right in the hands and it just drops, and you're like,
yeah.
Why?
They're like, oh, I don't know how he can drop down. It's like, what do you mean? You're a computer. You can't get ball. Oh yeah.
Wolf's asking, since we're still into the YouTube stuff, what program do you use for your editing?
I like Filmora 9 because it's super simple. There's no fine tuning of stuff, which is good for beginners. If you're getting advanced and you want to really do a lot of fine tuning in your programs, and you want to use a more expensive program than one of the bigger ones like Sony Vegas, Adobe, those. But Filmora 9 has been great for me because it gives me everything I need. It makes it easy and simple to understand without having all this other garbage in there. Because I tell you, I'm using Sony Vegas now too. And when you click on something, it brings up all kinds of options. And then it comes up with subcategories. And then it asks you if you want to do this and that. And it's all kinds of abbreviation jargon that I have no idea what any of it means.
Right.
So it's like, I sit there and stare at it. And I was like, I'm scared to click a button. I don't even want to touch any of these because I don't know what it's going to do. But I use Filmora 9 and it's been great. It's super simple. It's very straightforward. It's very user friendly. And it's been great. It's made a lot of the videos. Then some of the stuff that's going to start coming out now is going to be used with Vegas just because it allows me to make transitions differently. It allows me to actually make my own custom transitions by stacking things, kind of like I did for your Stinger. I can't do that with Filmora 9, but I can do it with Vegas.
Right.
It gives me options and it allows me to control what's going on screen a little bit tighter. So
yeah,
that's about as far as I have to say for that. Beginner wise, Filmora 9 is the thing. Vegas, I'm starting to see how I'm going to like it better. So eventually, as I learn things, Vegas will start being my new program.
So Wolf's asking, is it Filmora 9 or Filmora 9?
Filmora 9, Filmora 9.
There you go. The second one, Wolf. So just so you know. And Rabble says, oh, Vegas is so ugly and not user friendly.
No, it really isn't. You're right, Rabble. It is not user friendly. But if you can learn the stuff, it's worth it because the stuff you can do on it's pretty cool.
Right. So, what kind of things are you looking forward to in the future for YouTube, as far as like things that you're that you want to learn, things that you're going to want to tackle and try with the videos, and basically anything that's coming up that you're excited about.
Um, I I just this is stuff that I'm learning. I learn quite a bit every time I do a new video. So I'm just excited to keep getting. I'm excited to get to the point where I kind of slow down on that, and I'm able to focus a little bit more into the video.
Right.
Instead of this learning curve that I've been doing so much of lately, I like to be able to start doing more like I did with the powder room video. I want to start adding clips into it and tying them in a little bit more that way. I'm excited to kind of start doing that. I'm also excited to kind of add to the staff and bring in someone to help me. So I haven't said this or announced this yet, but I guess I'll do it now. I am going to start looking for an assistant, someone to help me out with the YouTube administration side of things. Basically, ideas, finding clips,
Right.
and then stringing things together. So I'm excited to grow that. Big reason I'm excited to grow that is because if we can, we've grown relatively fast and we have the views and that climbing, that if we get monetized, we can start getting advertising on it, and that can actually start generating a revenue for Supforce. And then we can start doing things for the community,
Right.
tournaments that give back money or objects, or something that's going to drive you to do something. We can start having more merchandise, start opening that up for everybody, so that way, I think focusing on that will help bring a lot towards other things in the Supforce that I really am passionate about growing.
Right.
We talked about how I started streaming not too long ago, but my thing is that I put a little more focus towards Supforce and the things that are going on here, because let's face it, there's always people trying to stream. People are always coming into it. Look how many people, I'm surprised, to tell you the truth, at how many people I hear about, like my age, talking about they didn't know streaming was a thing, or they didn't know that people were streamers, or this was what streaming was. It was community. It was doing this or that. And to me, like, it kind of came hand in hand in my thought, and to hear them say that, it makes me really see that there's a lot of people that need a group like us. They need a server like us, helping them out, helping them understand what they can do, what they shouldn't do, how to grow themselves, how to approach it. And I see, of course I see potential myself. I always want to be streaming or doing what I do, but I see the potential being just that much more with Supforce, and with all of us collectively helping others, we can grow so much faster and really push things and become,
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this whole thing. And we haven't been, like we talked about, we've been around not very long, and I think we're doing a lot of things right and by the book, and we're going to show a lot of people that we are serious about what we're doing. And I'm excited. I'm just excited for this year to start popping off.
Absolutely. Why don't you talk a little bit about the YouTube event we're having right now in Supforce?
YouTube event is basically where, I'm really trying to get you guys to get this pushed out there so we can start getting more people involved, and so they can see that our community is about all kinds of different things. It's not just about gaming. It's not just about, basically just not just about gaming. That's the biggest thing. People always look at it as like, oh, you got gaming clips. No, I got powder room clips of them doing stuff. I'd like to do, as people come along and start doing other stuff, say we're, if we get some IRL streamers, clip things together in their lives that happen. But right now we're doing 50% XP boost for people that, go and watch and share it and put it out there on their socials to help drive it. And that's going to be a huge boost. Like, you guys don't understand, 50% extra boost on top of it, because anything you're going to do with Augustus as a boost is 25%. So you're basically getting 75% boost, everything you do for the Supforce content. And that can get you all the way up to level 10 and get yourself promoted super quick and easily. So that way we all know when you go live, and that way things are growing. It's everything feeds on each other. So that's the biggest thing that I want to do with this YouTube event, is just kind of, help the community to get that little extra XP. And that way the community is also, by just going and spending a little bit of time checking it out, is helping us grow just as much. You know what I mean? So it's a
Right.
give and give for both sides. And that's the biggest thing I always want to do is I always want to make sure that if we're going to do something to help ourselves, that our community is benefiting from it as well. You know, I don't want them to ever feel that they're here to pump us up, because that's not it. We're here to pump them up, really.
It's a great thing that we're doing. It's helping out with getting the YouTube content noticed and getting it out there too. I mean, it's like you said, it's easy XP for people.
Mm-hmm.
Easy XP.
And I've had people on the outside of YouTube, not people that come into our server. A couple people have reached out to me, and like they've told me of like weird things you can do to like kind of boost your YouTube stats, because a lot of them like I'm surprised don't have more followers and more viewers because of the content you're producing. And so it's a good feeling in that sense to hear from like people that are other YouTubers that are got a couple thousand followers.
Right.
And there's a guy out there. His name is Spink. He does Apex stuff on YouTube, and he's growing pretty fast. And he didn't have a Discord community or anything like that. I actually tried reaching out to him to try to recruit him in, because he had like, I think when I talked to him, he had 18,000.
Wow.
And he was growing by like the hundreds a day. So, but he created his own Discord server community, so which kind of sucked, because I was like, oh shit. And this guy was talking to me, and because he stopped in, and he was like, yeah, you do a pretty good job. And he was talking to me, and I was like, oh, that's cool, man. That's pretty cool to hear someone else that's been doing it, and that's growing fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I was gonna try to get in the server, and then he was like, oh, I'm starting my own, and boom, he took off on his own. And it's like, damn.
I don't mean to take time away from the pod, but I don't know if you've seen this, Crown, because you're a sports guy. I don't know if you've seen this tweet that came out 2 hours ago, but let's see if you can see it. Oh shit, I don't know if you're gonna be able to. Because this damn virtual background.
Yeah.
Anyways, Tom Brady tweeted out a black and white photo of him at the end of the tunnel.
No, you're retiring.
And that's all it. He ain't retiring.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to retire.
Yes, he is.
No.
Otherwise, he's going to Denver, where all quarterbacks go to die.
Yeah, it's very true. His ego wants him to go somewhere else and see if he can actually win there.
And that's because all the greats do that. Brett Favre, Dan Marino, Steve Young,
Joe Montana.
Yeah. None of them. Doesn't matter. Like, look at what he said 2 years ago. He's like, I'm in the prime of my life, and he's like 40. What is he? 45 now?
Brady? No, he's 40. Oh no, he is. Is he? No, he's younger than me. I swear he's younger than me, or he's about the same age. Tom Brady age. He's 42. Yeah, he's a year younger than me.
Okay, so yeah, when he hit 40, he was like, I feel great, because who knows what his training regimen is. It's probably out of this world. He's probably in a hyperbolic chamber that we don't know exists.
Well,
seeing it somewhere.
Did you ever watch the Facebook series Time versus Tom?
No.
It followed him to not last year, the year before, where they lost in the Super Bowl. And it followed him up to that point. And you saw like his main guy with his freaking does his nutrition and everything else that helped him create the TB12 method, you know. And my wife just always laughs, because she's like, yeah, he's playing until he's 45 because he's got a guy that rubs him down every hour on the hour. Because she's like, that's just so weird when she's watching it and seeing what's going on. But she wasn't a fan of Tom Brady, and actually after that she was like, okay, I get it. You know, she goes, I just think he has so much that's why I don't want to see him win.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like that's I know what she's getting at, and it's kind of messed up, because you think about that as like, once someone gets so much success, you start hating them so hard.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that guy.
Well,
but no, I never had a problem with Tom Brady. I've never been like a super fan of his or anything like that. I've always owned him in fantasy because he produced for me. Mm-hmm. And when he didn't produce for me, I hated his ass. But it's not that. I don't know, man. It's they hit that wall. They all hit that wall, and I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see if he does stick around. I think he's a different caliber than most. I think he'll probably leave on a good note,
Right.
but I don't know. It's because quarterbacks always do this shit. He'll probably say he's quitting and then come back in a year or something like that. Who knows?
Right. Oh, exactly, Felly. Felly said if you'd have a chip on your shoulder too, if you were picked so far down everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's like for me right now. The only saving grace of the Denver Broncos right now is Lindsey Sterling. He's first running back in history to go undrafted and have his first 3 years break 1,000 yards rushing.
Right.
So like he's set history for in NFL history with that this year. So and he was never undrafted. So you see a lot of people look at like a lot of people like they'll go undrafted. They just come out with this big ass chip on their shoulder and they become one of the greats. It's happened a lot.
Yeah.
I think Dan Marino was one of them too.
Yep.
He was. They all said that he wasn't going to be the right one, so people passed on him. And when he finally went, he was like, "All right, let me show you." Even though he never won, which is super sad for him.
That's very
like
sad.
It's like the one of those things that you talk about when you. It's like Dan Marino should have gotten something, man. It sucks that he never did because he was a great quarterback during his time. But yeah.
Yes, Marina. That means they didn't get drafted. So they have, in football, what is it, eight rounds? I think it is. 8 rounds of the draft where everybody gets at least one pick unless they trade them away. Then people get 2 picks. But it's pretty much you can go 8 times 32, and so you have like 256 something like that people that are picked, and those people get on teams. Whereas if you don't go after that, Felly, it's kind of like a walk on where they sign somebody as a free agent afterwards, and that. So those are the guys that come on. They have a lot to prove because they're getting paid like the league minimum, which is like maybe $100,000, and that's because they don't have any years. And if they get years in, then they'll get like $400,000 or something like that as their minimum contracts. So,
man, that's what I always tell. If you want to be, you want to go play sports, go be a kicker. Just kick the ball. That is the longest longevity position in any sport is a kicker.
My daughter always asks me, she goes, "Dad, if you could be the best at any sport and be like the top, what would you do?" And without hesitation, I go, golf. Let me golf.
Yeah.
Let me golf. You could golf into your 70s and still make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and all you're doing is traveling the world and playing on a weekend.
Yeah, I was thinking of a team base. I was thinking golf, but yeah, you're right. Golf definitely. Yeah, you still have the senior league and all them guys going for forever. For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't have you don't have to worry about CTE or anything like that. Even as a kicker, you still got to worry about that. Getting hit.
Oh yeah. I can agree there. I didn't put golf in there.
Yeah, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, all those guys. They all played forever.
Oh yeah, I love golf. I never got into it competitively. I didn't play in high school or anything like that, but I always played with my brothers. My brothers are always heavy into golf, so I'd go with them, and we do a weekend thing all the time. The last time I went golfing was down at Crystal Creek, actually downstate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's like a beautiful course. They've got a resort there and everything that we stayed at, so it's pretty
Crystal
cool.
Creek?
Crystal Creek. Yeah, it's I want to say it's over by Muskegon area.
I played at Crystal Mountain. I played there.
Oh, Crystal Mountain. Yeah, that's the one. What the hell? Yeah,
that's
Crystal
the one? Yeah, because they have, I think they have 2 courses there.
Yeah.
Because they have the ski lodge there too as well during the winter. Yeah, yep. I played there. I played at Boyne Mountain. So yeah, I played. Yeah. I go it's the weekend after Mother's Day. I go on a golf outing, and I've gone like the past 6-7 years, I think it is. So, and we go up to, this year we're going up to Shanty Creek. So that's where I'll be at then. I've been to Muskegon a few times as a kid. Oh, nice, Felly. It's a nice place. So let's talk a little bit about you. We talked about the YouTube channel and everything else like that. Let's talk a little bit about you. What was your, I know you played the Atari, but can you remember what your first video game was as a kid that you played?
Sega Genesis, Sonic Hedgehog.
Really?
Yep. First game I ever played like on a system. My brother had it. My brother had Sega. He had Sonic. He had what the hell's that game called? It's the one where you're the guy and you're shooting and the monsters appear and they're coming at you on the ground. It's like checkerboards and they're constantly running towards you. And it's all like.
Well, I know there was. If we're talking about Sega Genesis, I know some of the early ones was like Kid Chameleon, Altered Beast. There was that. Oh, those are like the main ones I remember.
Man, I can't remember. Altered Beast was an RPG though. That was awesome. That was a good game too.
Akuma says Sega Genesis Warlock.
Sega Genesis Warlock. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it's called, but it was those two games. It was like I said, you're this guy. His legs are always spread like this, and you were sitting there with a gun, and you'd move back and forth. Is all you could do, and the screen was constantly coming at you, and you had to shoot the monsters and keep moving forward.
Huh.
That's all I can remember. And Sonic the Hedgehog, I put lots of hours into that game.
Rebel says Primal Rage on Genesis. I remember Primal Rage.
Actually, I played Primal Rage too. Yeah, I remember that game.
I remember Streets of Rage, playing that too.
Streets of Rage, yep.
Contra, I don't know if Contra was on Genesis. I'm sure it probably was, but I remember playing the original Contra on Nintendo. Playing that game all the time. Up, down, left, right, BA, start.
Yep.
I still remember that code. Yep. To this day, I'll never forget that code, ever. I used to know the code for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out to get right to Mike Tyson.
You could do one for Sonic too. It was start, up, down, left, right, A, B, C, or whatever. A, B, C, C, B, A. You just have to do back and forth.
I spent a lot of time playing Sonic Spinball. I played that game a lot.
Oh, God.
Up, down, left, right, BA, select, start.
Yeah.
The Lion King still The Lion King still one of the hardest games on this planet.
Is it really? I don't think I ever played The Lion King. And then after that, I think after Sega, I got. What did I get after that? It was I think the N64 was just coming out.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved on to that, I never had a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo. Two things I never had.
Huh.
But yeah, I got myself a N64 all because of WWE at the time. I was all about the WWE. Actually, WCW is what it was called.
Right.
And I was all about Goldberg, and it's all I wanted to play. All I wanted to do was spear people. All I wanted to do. I played the shit out of that game. And I think that's literally the only reason I even had an N64 was for that game. It was funny.
Well, we did it on the last one when I was talking to Sloppy about that triangular system that I had. That was my very first one. Then I had an Atari. Then I went from Atari and I went to Nintendo. I got the Atari 2600. I didn't get the 7800. And then I went from Atari to the Nintendo. Then from Nintendo, I went to Genesis. I really wanted a TurboGrafx 16, but I didn't get one. So I went to Genesis. I didn't get the Super Nintendo because I wanted the Genesis instead. And then from Genesis, I got a Nintendo 64, had PlayStation 2, and then after PlayStation 2 went to Xbox, and then the rest is history. Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox One X.
See, I went back and forth for a moment, but I had my Sega Dreamcast after 64. I got my PlayStation, and then the Sega Dreamcast came out. So I got a Sega Dreamcast, which Sega Dreamcast was ahead of its time. Like, it was probably one of the coolest systems out there. Mm-hmm. It had an awesome controller. It was just like the Xbox controller, but it had a screen on it. It had a little like Digimon thing you can pull out and play with. Like, that thing was dope. And Power Stone was my game on that one. I would play the shit out of Power Stone and House of the Dead. It was a huge game on there. It was a zombie game on there. Played a lot of that one.
Not NFL 2K on that? Because that used to be the game on Dreamcast. I would go over to my friend's place and play NFL 2K on there.
I had NFL 2K on there too, yeah. Actually, you know what was cool about NFL 2K? NFL 2K's collision system mechanic was way better than Madden's. Like, they would block and they would actually seek out and block properly. Like, it was way better mechanic. I used to actually like their mechanics a lot more than Madden's.
Right.
So, but then I went to PlayStation. Then I bought Xbox because I wanted Gears of War really, really bad. That was the only reason I had an Xbox for that, was for Gears of War. And then some stuff happened. I had 2 Xboxes, and within like a few months, they both got the Ring of Death. So I got super pissed and went and bought a PlayStation. And then after that, I just never went back.
Gotcha.
So I stayed with PlayStation after that.
No, my game, early was NHL '94 on Genesis. I played the hell out of that game, man.
That one was, you could get in the fights on that one, and a cutscene. What is in it to it? Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
You could check somebody and lay them out on the ground, and you'd see them laying there, their helmet would be off, and you see the pool of blood coming on the ice.
I remember that one. That one was good. Yep. I like hockey games even nowadays. They're fun mechanics. Like, they're hard to get used to. They're really hard to play. But if you get good at them, they're pretty fun to play.
Oh, once you get used to it. But see, the thing with, like, when I would play them, I play them where I used to live with my neighbor. Him and I would, me and one of his friends would all hang out and play games at night because my wife would work third shift, so she wouldn't be home. So I'd go next door and play games with them. And we would play NHL all the time on Xbox. And we would have to sit there and just crank up all the settings too, because we didn't like how slow it was. So we'd have to get it to where we're flying up and down the ice and just, having a blast. And you just lay people out, but you'd hit them so hard because of the speed that they would give you penalties left and right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tecmo Super Bowl. That was good shit, man. That too. Yep. I remember that one.
See, I still prefer the original Tecmo Bowl. Still love that.
LA
Raiders, Bo Jackson, all the time.
Yep.
Running play, gone.
Or you take out Jerry Rice, give him the ball.
Yeah.
Which one was that one? That was Madden something. Not Madden 96 or Madden 97, Madden 98. All 3 of those were Jerry Rice. You just use Jerry Rice, and he just be off the wall. You run back and forth as far as you could into a corner, away from the all coming down to you. Then all of a sudden you run up here and just go all the way.
Right.
Every time.
And I remember in Tecmo Bowl that the New York Giants were the only ones that could block a field goal in that game. They were the only ones, so it's like each one had like their own special thing. But oh god, okay. Boogie wants to know who you got Sunday. Oh, there you are. Jesus Christ, you're like paused there for a second. I was like, did I lose him again? So who you got Sunday, Crown? For the big game, we'll say, because we don't have rights to say the other thing.
No, I hate Chiefs because they're in Denver's division. So I'm not a Chiefs fan at all. So I'm actually going for San Fran in this.
Okay, well, my wife and I every year for like the past, I'd say 12, 13 years, we do a bet every year. And I usually let her pick. Well, the past 2-3 years, we haven't done it because she doesn't bet when the Patriots are in the playoffs, or when they're in the big game. Because the reason being is she did it twice, and the one year was she bet for Tom Brady, and that's when they lost to the Giants. And then the next year is when she bet against Tom Brady, and they won. And then she bet against Tom Brady again for the Seattle game and thought she had it all wrapped up until the infamous play where they did not give Marshawn Lynch the ball. And I know it's still got to haunt Pete Carroll's dreams, that thing. It's like, if you hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, you win that game. Plain and simple. And same thing with Atlanta 2 years ago.
That's why I say this damn game is rigged nowadays with Tom Brady's bullshit. They bought that. Their GM bought out somebody in the league because Atlanta, that game more than anybody's, even more than Seattle's, doesn't make any sense. You're up 3 touchdowns. All you've got to do is run the ball. They don't run the ball one time in 7 possessions, bro. Not one time in 7 possessions. Are you shitting me? Like, really? You have the game won if you just run the clock. But no.
Nope. Everybody tries to be cute and tries to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yep.
But our bet this year I have the Chiefs. She picked San Francisco. That was who she picked. So I have the Chiefs. So what I have on the line is if I win, I told her, I said, I want a Saturday all day, no questions asked. I get up in the morning. I can sit right here in front and stream all day and not get any shit about it, not get complained about it, not asked to do anything. That's all I do. So if I win and I get that, I'm going to do a 24-hour stream. I'm going to do it. I'll wake up in the morning and start at like 7 o'clock in the morning and go all the way till 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday.
That's funny.
That's going to be my thing.
Yes, Wolf, I am a Broncos fan, bro. I definitely am a Broncos fan. I live and bleed brown. I'm brown, orange and blue.
Wow.
I know. I won't screw that one up. But no, I have ever since I was like, yeah, they've always been my team. I'm a huge John Elway and Terrell Davis fan. They're my all-time favorite NFL players. Terrell Davis is my man because I was during the time when he was in his prime. When I played football in high school, I was running back, and I looked up to him for all the stuff he went through.
Right.
He went on. He didn't get drafted. He got drafted way at the very bottom at the end of everything, and he had a lot to prove. He suffered from migraines the entire time he played, and the dude still played through that shit. Man.
Right.
Like, he was a beast, and I don't know if you guys know this, but when they played the Packers in the '98 Super Bowl, the last 4 plays of that game, he played blind.
So
he could.
When Elway won his first Super Bowl, did you cry?
No, but I ran around the house screaming and saluting everybody because that was the thing. Like Terrell Davis had the Mile High salute, right? So like I was just running around as a little kid, just saluting everybody, just all happy as shit. And my mom cried because my mom she was a lot longer of a diehard fan.
Right.
She'd been, Elway came in and I was still young. I didn't really know football well enough until it was kind of towards his end. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was born in '87, so really 10 years later is when he wins his first Super Bowl. So to me, there was no real investment.
Right.
To them, my brothers, my mom, my dad, my aunts, all of them, it was like, yeah, they're all emotional for him for sure.
Yeah. Well, like for me, the equivalent of that for me was I used to be a huge hockey fan. Being in Detroit, I sat there and
You hate the Avalanche, then, don't you?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Lemieux.
I'll say this: fuck Lemieux and fuck Joe Sakic. Okay, and most of all, double figgity fuck Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh.
F that guy in the A. Okay,
but it used to be back then. It was them Avalanche or Red Wings back.
Oh
then.
yeah,
That's all I remember.
I will say this: is that you will never get hockey like that ever again. Those were so the days. But when the Wings won their first cup and I saw Yzerman hoist that cup up for the first time, dude, I cried. I cried when that happened because that was just it was amazing to see. The only thing I can equate to that would be like our long drought with that compared to I think the only one that would be worse than that was the Cubs. And then them finally winning their World Series after 100 years.
Yeah.
Could you just imagine that? 100 years being a fan. Like imagine if you were 100 years old and saw them win that World Series, what that meant to you, being a fan. That's crazy. 1, 2, thank you so much for all those donations, man. I really appreciate it. I don't want it to go unnoticed because I appreciate the diamonds, the ice creams, and those lemons. But it's amazing to me like how sports affects, people like myself. And that's why we're called fans, fanatics, And like for me, obviously being Diehard and my name coming from Diehard Michigan fan, that is my team. Like my wife knows that when the Michigan Ohio State game comes around, it hasn't been so much lately because we've been on this downturn, and now it just seems like we've just leveled off and we're just sitting here at mediocrity in the Big Ten. But the Michigan Ohio State game where it was that bad spot where it was 6 inches, that ball could have went 6 inches either way, and that tells you exactly what the game is going to happen. Like I was so angry with that, and she just was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go away now." But one of the really bad ones, and I'm sure you remember this, is that the fumble with the snap game, where Michigan had the game won. They were beating Michigan State. It was done, and there was all this shit talk from Michigan State fans about how they're going to kill us and they're going to beat us all, up and down the field. And we had the game won. And all it was is you had to do max protect and just punt the ball away. And they don't get the ball, and the guy runs it back for a touchdown with no time left and wins the game because of it. Like, I literally just dropped to my knees, pounded on the floor, just like, no.
Are you shitting, man?
And my wife looks at me, and she's just like, oh, my God. She goes, you would have thought me and Belle were getting, like, tortured right in front of you. I'm like, it might as well be. That's how it feels right now. And like, you don't understand. Every damn year I take shit from Michigan State fans all the time. I'm just pounding my fist on the floor. And I'm like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm so sick and tired of this.
Yeah. And what's messed up too is like, I'm not a Michigan fan. Like, my brother is a hardcore Michigan State fan.
Uh-huh.
I'm not even going to tell you who I am a fan of. So we'll leave it at that.
Don't tell me you're an Ohio State fan. Come on, dude.
I am an Ohio State fan. But I don't...
Panic if you're out there. We're going to have to talk about Crown's position. No.
But not as much anymore. Like, dude, after Lloyd Carr left and Ivan, Rodriguez became the coach, all that shit. Like, I met Lloyd Carr. I liked Michigan. I met Lloyd Carr a couple of times when I was in school. We went to football camp, and I got a chance to meet him a few times and actually talk with him and stuff like that, and talk football with him. So it's pretty cool. And I like Lloyd Carr. So I was always more of a Michigan fan because of that whole situation.
Right.
Because I had a connection with them in that situation. I never liked Michigan State. I've never liked Michigan State. My brother's a big Michigan State fan, and I think him being a State fan always drove me away from it because I love to rival with my brother. I love to argue with him and talk shit with him.
Yeah.
So I always hated on State. I always rooted for Michigan, but I was an Ohio State fan. My biggest thing though is that I during college I was a player watcher. I wasn't loyal to colleges based on them being a college. I wasn't going to that college. I was never going to go to that college. But I was really big into recruiting. I loved that shit. I was a huge Reggie Bush fan, a Beanie Wells fan. I was huge into Tyrell Pryor. I was huge, I loved all these guys. I loved watching college ball way more than professional ball up until for a long time because it was more pure. The kids were out there doing incredible shit because they had to prove themselves. They were trying to get paid.
Yeah.
They were trying to get that. So I loved watching that. So I loved watching SEC conferences a lot more because they had the big flash. They had these high West Coast high producing offensive schemes that were different from Big Ten.
Right.
I wasn't much of a Big Ten fan. I grew up in Big Ten because of I live in Michigan, so we ran power I formations. That's what Big Ten is.
Yep. So
I was more of the power stuff, and I loved watching SEC teams. So I was actually more of an SEC fan of watching sports. So I liked Alabama. I hated LSU with a fucking passion, dude. I hate LSU with a passion. Even today, I hate LSU. But I liked USC. Even though they're Pac-10, but I like these teams out there, just because I liked the flash. I thought it was really cool. Reggie Bush was someone I looked up to big when I was playing ball because I played his style. I'm short, dude. I'm 5'10" at most. On a good day when I'm waking up in the morning. You know what I mean? That's when I'm fully stretched out. I'm 5'10". Otherwise, I'm probably 5'9", and I was fast. I was really quick. I was shifty, and his style of play was my style. I wasn't power running back. I was that kid that ran zigzags, went from point to get to point Z. I went through every alphabet to get there. You know what I mean? It wasn't no point A to point B thing with me. So that was my thing. USC, and then I went Ohio State because I have players that were there for the majority of my high school.
So you were pretty happy when Jamarcus Russell came into the league and faltered big time. You were like, yes.
Yeah, because that guy, he screwed up a couple of my bets that I had on the championship games with my buddies because of that bitch. I'll just call him that. I did not like him.
Well, the funny thing is when he did his like pro day workouts and everything, and he did that whole thing where he was, sitting on his knees throwing 100-yard passes. Like they were like, "Oh my God, look at this guy's arm!" And it's like, okay, but he can't move and he can't make decisions. And
he was just a fat guy sitting back there throwing the ball.
Yeah,
just like that quarterback Wink from Florida State at one point.
Yeah.
He was just a fat guy back there throwing the ball around too. It's like, dude, you can't do shit. You can't move. You don't move with the pocket. Nothing.
Right. Now, are you going now because it's you're only 5'9"?
Yeah, I'm short, Marina. I am.
Now, I don't know how much like pro ball you watched when you were really young, but did you ever hear of a running back for the Buccaneers named Warwick Dunn?
Oh yeah, Warwick Dunn.
Yeah. Dude, that guy I always watched and was like amazed like how short he was and how tiny he was, but he would just be all over the place and get through stuff that you were like, how does he get through that? Oh, probably because he's so short that nobody can find him.
I'm gonna have to ask my dad. I know he has them. I know he's got Super 8 videos still. Them good old VHSs that they had back in the day.
Yeah.
They've got when they used to record my games. I've got games from Pop Warner when I was and I was called the Rhino, and my favorite player was Mike Allstott.
Okay.
He was the fullback, obviously, for Warwick Dunn. And I wore the number 40 in honor of him.
Yeah.
And my friends all call me Rhino. And, dude, I have clips of me as a kid running with the ball with kids on my back and kids pulling out the back of my shirt. And I don't know if you know, but Mike Allstott is famous for that shit because he used to go through more jerseys than any NFL player during his reign of playing because he used to rip them and he used to drag people and he stretched the shit out of all of his jerseys. By the time he's done, his jerseys were down to his knees because he's still stretched out from him dragging people.
Right.
And my dad has clips of me. I have to make clips, but he has recordings of games where I did the same thing, or I just drug people, and that was my shit. I love Mike Allstott, so I was like all about him in every single way.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
Then there's a guy that I was always impressed with. He was a fullback. I'm trying to remember his name, but he was for the Lions back during the '90s during their heyday, and it started with a C. It was like initials. But he would go through like cracked face masks like all the time because of how hard he hit, and he would just like that was Barry's fullback back then too, and it was just amazing to watch that guy just like how hard he would hit the pocket. You couldn't do that. You can't do that now.
No, they call you for spearing or some other shit,
right?
Even with your helmet and everything else.
I can't remember what his name is. It's gonna bother me.
I'm trying to. I can picture a guy because Barry was I was obviously a huge fan of Barry Sanders. Who wasn't? Like, you cannot respect the greatest running back of all time.
Right.
If he would have played for anyone other than the Lions, that dude would have had
Corey Schlesinger. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Corey Schlesinger.
Yep. I remember. Yep. I remember that name now.
He was awesome. He was awesome to watch him. Yep. Between him and one of your Ohio State people, Chris Spielman.
Chris Spielman.
I watched an interview with him, and it's amazing like how when you watch football players and how like they get into the mindsets of stuff. And he like talked about how when he would be, lining up and everything, getting ready for a play, like he would be talking shit to the other team, and like he said he would imagine like the quarterback, whoever it was, like raping his little girl and stuff like that. Like he would put that shit in his head just so it would get him amped up, and he would just be like an unstoppable force. And I was like, Jesus. Like that's some shit right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. I've seen documentaries of different people, different linebackers, like Bill Romanowski. Remember him?
Yeah.
Denver Broncos, and then he went to Oakland for a while.
Yep.
Dude, that guy used to he would make himself. He would sit there and like say stuff to himself, not other people. He'd say fucked up shit to himself, just to rage himself up. And that's why like you'd always see so many pictures of like when he was playing where he's just like this crazy intensity to him.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much like doing the same thing, saying these guys are just these horrible people and just just getting himself super fucking hyped. But the greats all did that. Like the really, really aggressive, great linebackers and defensive ends all had the same story where they do that same shit. They look at that other person, they make them literally the enemy that they hate with all their passion.
Yep.
Because they want to kill them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But what's funny is like you look at sports now and then you look at sports back then, like, what do you think it would be like if there were cell phone, cameras and everything back then, and the shit that
If
they
things
would
were
have
mic'd
found?
up then, oh, dude, if things were mic'd up then,
Right.
People would be blushing because they wouldn't even know what to say with the shit they'd
Oh
hear.
yeah.
Oh, they'd be blushing. Like they think people say bad things, they think, we're not going to say names, but they think recordings of somebody in power says something bad, or you should hear what people that play sports say. Like I remember being on the bottom of piles, dude, getting my eyes poked at, kids punching me in the nuts, trying to get me to drop the ball. Like those pileups, you think they're just a pileup going for the ball? No, there's someone in there getting their shit broken. Someone's getting a finger, someone's getting poked in the face. There's stuff going on down there you don't want to be a part of. Like you're on the bottom, you're in a world of shit.
You just try to curl up in the fetal position, just hold on for dear life.
Yep. Because you're getting punched in the ribs, you're getting punched in the gut, anything to get you to drop that ball, they're doing to you.
Probably the longest 5 seconds of your life when they're trying to pull everybody off and you're just sitting there.
Yep, it is. Yep.
No, I never played football, and what's funny is that people look at me and they're like, oh, what position did you play in football in high school? And I'm like, I never played football in high school. I was literally up to my just after my sophomore year, I was like 4'11", 130 pounds. I was tiny, and then that summer I shot up almost a foot because it's this thing called Osgood-Schlatter where like your legs don't grow like proportionate to the rest of your body, and like when it catches up, it's like I had like severe growing pains, like it was bad.
Oh yeah.
And I wonder if I could find it. I don't know if I can because I don't know if we have the pictures anymore, but literally my freshman year at homecoming, the girl I went with, I was like this tall and she was like this tall. It was ridiculous. Like I was half her height. Okay. It looked like she was taking her little brother out, to a dance. And then after I shot up, she like tried to talk to me. It was like, hey, what's going on? It's like, no. You don't have anything to do with me when I was a short little shit. Now all of a sudden no, forget you.
Now that I grew a foot.
Right. Yeah. But I played tennis and soccer in high school. Those were my sports. I tried basketball. I wasn't great at it. I made like the 7th grade team, and then in 8th grade I didn't make the team, so that was the end of that. And I never played. I played basketball for fun and that, but never like on a school team or anything like that. But those are my 2 sports that I played in high school. And I was in band, so I did all that.
Yeah, I didn't do band, didn't have time for it. I liked band, but like we were required in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to take band. That was one of the classes we had to take. And I wanted to do percussions, but we had too many people with percussion, so the teacher wouldn't let me. So I did saxophone, which I enjoyed. I like the saxophone. Mm-hmm. My brother played it, so we had an extra instrument, so I played that.
That's what I was going to play when I did. If I wasn't going to play drums, that's what I was going to do, was play saxophone, honestly.
The saxophone, it was actually fun. I enjoyed it. But then when I got into high school, it was like, okay, right, well, you can do band, but it's going to eat into sports time and stuff like that. I couldn't do one of the sports, and I was like, hell no, I'm doing all sports all day, every day. That's right. And so that's what it was. To tell you the truth, I know I love football. I know we were talking about my biggest passion for playing a sport was baseball.
Yeah.
I loved baseball more than anything, dude. And I was really good at baseball. And my dad loved baseball. And I think that's why I loved it so much, because he spent a lot of time with me as a kid, outdoors playing. Mm-hmm. He even actually built me a backstop.
Oh, nice.
We went down one day, cut down some cedar trees. We post holed them, and he put up fencing for me, and we had a backstop because I used to be a pitcher. I played center field, pitcher, and catcher.
Okay.
I had a cannon on me for all purposes. I could throw it from center field fence all the way to home plate with a 2-bouncer. And I played baseball all up until I was 15, and then it was Babe Ruth, and then they didn't offer it anymore, and we didn't have a high school baseball team.
Oh, that sucks.
It really did. I was really upset, and my parents actually sat and contemplated all winter long on about what they were going to do for baseball, because the only option was farm league. And basically what farm league was is you paid for everything. You paid for the equipment, your gear, and you paid for transportation. And we played 5 games a week for the summer.
Oh, wow.
And so it was traveling nonstop. So it would have been really, really taxing, very, very hard on my parents. And I actually came to them and told them that I would be done with baseball. And it kind of broke their heart because they knew I loved baseball and they knew I was good at it and they wanted to keep pushing it.
Right.
I told them, I'll just play football. I'll do other stuff. Don't worry about it and type stuff. That's the only thing in my life that I can honestly, truly say I regret not keeping up with that because I am smaller. I was never going to go anywhere with football.
Right.
But with baseball, I definitely could have. And my brothers they all regret not getting in my ear and forcing me to keep doing it because they all know. Like I've got trophies of baseball. When I was 12, I hit 16 home runs in my league.
Wow.
Yeah, and the other person that was closest to me was 3. Like I was and I enjoyed it. Like it was probably my passion of all the sports. I love baseball, playing it the most. I love football. I love talking football. I love the mechanics and the schemes and just talking about like, strategy because that's what football is.
Right.
Football is today's modern war. You're constantly strategizing. Like coaches are the shit, man. Like I love professional college or even college coaches, all of them, dude. Their schemes that they come up with to beat each other.
Right.
It takes great athletes, but it takes a coach to put athletes in a position to do greatness. And it's a great thing, but kind of getting off topic. Sorry.
All right.
But yeah, baseball, man, I would have loved to keep playing baseball. And I wish my high school had it. And what's really fucked up about it is my high school offered baseball as a team sport the year I graduated.
Oh,
so
man.
Right after the year I graduated, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna adopt baseball because there's enough of a want for it now." So yeah, it sucked. It hurt.
You're walking away like, yeah, fuck me, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh yeah, great, awesome, perfect. Fucking assholes.
Well, see, I went to one high school for 3 years, and then before my senior year, my parents moved, so I had the option of going back to my old school or going to the new school where I was at. Well, the new school I was at, it was actually cool to be in the band, and they just won the state championship for marching band. So I was like, let's go over there. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made because I was the new kid at school, and it was just amazing, like how the difference it was. And I really wish I would have went there sooner. But
kind of get a little restart, kind of.
Yeah, it was because people didn't, people didn't, have predispositions of me, because they've grown up with me through the years and everything else, and you're a band geek and you just stay with the band people. Whereas like over there, it was cool to be in the band. But the one thing that I missed was that they didn't have a soccer team in the team I went to, or the high school I went to. So I played 3 years of varsity at my other high school. Then I went to the new high school, and the same thing here is the year after I graduated, they started a soccer team.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I know, it's so messed up. It's like shit.
Right.
Just that tad bit late. Would you do this to me before?
Yeah. But well, dude, it's been over an hour and a half, and we've covered a lot here today.
Oh yeah, it's already 30. Shit.
Right. So, is there anything that you wanted to say to wrap up this whole deal about yourself and address the audience, those that are left?
I don't really have anything else to say. I appreciate everyone that's been here to hang out and kind of talk with us and listen to me ramble on about myself. It's kind of a little awkward talking about yourself at times because you don't know what to say or you don't want to feel like that asshole that's like,
right,
you're full of yourself.
Yeah.
No, it's been great. This has been, I'm really grateful to you for even considering me, man. So I thank you.
Oh, please, easy decision. Like I said, I haven't anybody on here. It's just like I said, I like to just have a conversation with people. It doesn't need to be scripted. It doesn't need to know questions ahead of time. We just talk and let the conversation go where it goes.
And as long as we've known each other, it's like how personal to really know each other. So that's good.
Right.
Get that stuff into.
Like I did not know you were an Ohio State fan. You've known that I've been a Michigan fan, and you've kept that to yourself. Oh, yeah, and I know it's by design.
And it's because and the biggest reason is, like I said, I'm not a hardcore. If I was like hardcore into it, if I was younger, I tell you what, if I was between 18 and 23, I would have been in your ear all day, been like, hey man, how about that Ohio State Michigan game? You know what I mean? But I just don't. It's not as strong as a thing.
Real quick though, you know as well as I do, that spot could have went either way to either team. And that's what I was pissed about it because it didn't go my way, but I was smart enough to know that it was too close, that whatever way they called it, it was going to stay that way. Mm-hmm. If they called it for Michigan, it was going to stay for Michigan. If they were calling it for Ohio State, it's going to stay for Ohio State. So it sucks that it ended up that way, but I'm just pissed off about how bad they've embarrassed Michigan the past 2 years. And Devin Bush came out with comments this past week because of all the Super Bowl interviews and everything like that. And he's with Pittsburgh, but he's there and they were interviewing him, and he basically said that Michigan needs to take that game more seriously. That needs to be their focus for the year, because if you're going to focus on Ohio State and prep for that, everything else will be cake. Everything else will. If you prep for that game, you beat everybody else. Mm-hmm. If you're prepping for that game, and that's what Ohio State does. They came in. Urban Meyer came in, and that they knew that was the game, and they've even said it that Ohio State, that's what they talk about all year long. It's not, let's get ready for this game. Okay, we'll get ready for the next game. Then when Michigan-Ohio State week comes around, then they'll start talking about it. No, that's the way it is all year long, and that's not what it is at Michigan. And Devin Bush said it, that we got to be more intense and focus on that game more rather than thinking like everybody does there, I hope Ohio State doesn't show up this week. That you can't think like that, and that's the problem.
It's literally setting yourself up for failure when you're saying something like that.
Yep.
You're literally admitting to you not being as good as them. That cannot be done. That is mentally if you can prepare for a game mentally, physically you will never win. Mentally is everything. Yep. Your mental game is more important than your physical game. Obviously, you can't be a couch potato and play. Yeah. But that's not the point, you know.
But dude, I'm so glad Shea Patterson's gone from Michigan. I'm so glad he's gone because he was terrible. I know he ranks up there with the greatest Michigan quarterbacks and everything because of what he did in 2 years compared to people doing it in 3 or 4 years. But I'm sorry. He was terrible. He couldn't take care of the ball. He wasn't a good decision maker.
Exactly. And that too. And like, I don't know. Here's one of the problems with that stuff too, is like he had a little bit more talent to use around him. Those guys he had for receivers were all a lot better than the other guys. Like you can't say that, oh, this guy is the best that's ever been here. Like, okay, yeah, his stats are there. But I hate how they put so much emphasis on one player's ability.
Yep.
Not them. It's a team sport, bro. It is. If you want to talk individual, go to an individual sport. Then you can tell me that this guy is the greatest at it. But when you've got wide receivers that catch the ball at 10 yards and then go 60 yards for a touchdown, you tell me that's the fucking quarterback?
Right.
Eat shit. The quarterback is second is not the most important. Yeah, you need one that's smart. That's where a quarterback thrives, is if he's smart. And then he can, like you said, ball control, making sure you're not turning it over, calling the right plays, reading the defense.
Yep.
You know, that's great. Mentally, once again, we're back to the mental aspect of the game. And that's what I've always loved about football.
You look before Flacco won the year for the Ravens, their first one. Trent Dilfer was not an elite quarterback. He was not a spectacular. All he did was manage the game. The defense won that. So you can win without having that, but you can't have a guy who's going to make dumb decisions. That was the thing, is Trent Dilfer didn't make any stupid decisions. He kept the ball, managed the game, do his dink and dunk passes, maybe go downfield once or twice a game, but he did not put his team in a position to lose. And that's the problem with Shea, was that, I mean, come on. The very first game, he fumbles the ball. And I think it was 3 weeks straight. The first series, they fumbled. Every single time. It was madness.
There was a meme that went after the second, like, when the third one came out, there was a meme on him about fumbling it every first play. I remember that.
I was just like, when it happened the first time, I'm like, all right, jitters, whatever. And then when it happened like the next game, I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And then the third time, you're like, no. Like, he should have been yanked. But I guess the talk around the team is that Shea never had to work for position. No matter how much they talked about it, he always was given the position. It was like nobody else even mattered. I'm so excited for this season because this is the first year that it's actually a recruited guy that's going to start this game. Whether it's Milton, whether it's McCaffrey, or whether it's McNamara. Any one of those three guys, they were actually recruited and brought through the system, and they've sat along. And I hope Dylan McCaffrey can stay healthy because then it's going to be huge. But Milton is going to be the superstar.
Yeah.
McCaffrey can do some stuff, but he doesn't have the arm like Milton does. Milton's going to be able to wow some people back there. So it's going to be interesting to see. But,
yeah. Oh yeah. It's always that's the great thing about it. New kids every year.
Yeah.
Stepping up, proving themselves.
Well, man, I thank you so much for joining me. I really do. Thank you for making time. I know you usually stream during this time, so thank you so much for taking the time and joining me. Oh, sure. It is awesome, and I really, really appreciate it, dude. Everybody out there, thank you so much for hanging out. We really, really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you for sticking around for the hour and 45 minutes while we talked and that. It was wonderful. And, you know, as I always say, just remember, everybody, that happiness is a state of mind, peace, love, and financial security. All if you're going to have sex, wear a condom, help control the pet population, every pet's spayed or neutered. And remember, as always, stay blessed. Have a great night, everybody. Well, it was awesome, dude.
Yeah, man, it was good. Thanks for having me. I wonder who Shay sucked to get into that, to get that starting role and not have it questioned. Somebody did something. His mom, his dad, somebody did something to get that position.
I don't know, man. I really don't. It just, it kills me. It killed me because I'm like, there's like times that any other quarterback, like Saban would have pulled him. Guaranteed Saban would have pulled him after shit he did. I mean, look at what he did in the national championship game. You pull Jalen Hurts and you put Tua in and you win?
Uh-huh.
Come on. No coach would do that in a national championship game. That's the guy that got us here. We're going to ride him. No. He's like, no, we're going to go out there and win this game. I don't care who does it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nuts.
Craziness.
It is. And don't worry, I promise I'll immediately download the pod right after this and get it uploaded. If I can't do it for this one, I mean, God.
Yeah, right. I was gonna make sure I had said something before I left. Don't worry. Make sure I get that. But,
no, it's awesome.
Good time. You know what's funny is I didn't think of it. And I wasn't nervous until like the last 6:30 came and my alarm went off and it said podcast. And then all of a sudden I got nervous. I was like, what the fuck? I was sweating all day. Now my hands are sweaty.
Knees are weak. Arms are sweaty. Palms are sweaty.
It's the anticipation, man.
Yeah.
Once it starts, it's all good. But it's like just thinking about I wonder what we're going to do. Well, what's going to happen?
Right. You know what we got to do is we got to put it up into staff chat since we're not having a staff call. We need to vote on featured creator for next week.
Yeah.
So we got to see who we're going to select for that. It's going to be interesting.
Do we have anything going on, like in terms of? No, I don't think so. We don't have any advanced stuff going on. No platforms got anything special going on.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think we have anything right now, other than the YouTube event we got going. You know, we still have 2 weeks to the tournament.
Something like that. I think Panic and QP said they're going to look at something because they're having a problem getting people to sign up with teams. They've got a lot of people, individuals, saying they want to play, but they're not getting people submitting teams. So I think they're going to open it up and say, sign up if you want to play, and then once we get so many people, we're going to make teams or something like that.
Right.
So
this episode was brought to you by Supforce.